Hey guys, what's going on? Hermdo back with you. Looks like the Senate approved the funding bill hours before the deadline. Now they're sending it to Trump for a signature. People are not happy about this. The Senate passed a Republican-led spending bill Friday hours before a government shutdown, overcoming sharp Democratic opposition to the measure and sending it to President Donald Trump to be signed into law. Get these goddamn glasses off. The essential party line vote 54-46 didn't give the full picture of gnawing Democratic angst over how to confront the Trump administration as Doge fires federal workers and dismantles operations. Democrats argued over whether to fight, even risking a shutdown, and fumed that Republicans drafted a measure that included little of their input, shortchanging healthcare, housing, and other priorities. But in the end, enough of the Democratic senators decided a government shutdown would be even worse and backed Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer's strategy to allow the bill to come forward. Yeah, this was a no-win scenario. Shutdown will allow Doge to shift into overdrive. Schumer said Donald Trump and Elon Musk will be free to destroy vital government services at a much faster rate. Democrats were confronted with two painful options: allowing passage of the bill they believe gives President Donald Trump vast discretion on spending decisions, or voting no on letting funding lapse. All told, 10 Democrats voted to break the party's filibuster to advance the bill to the final vote. On final passage, 2 Democrats supported the bill. One Republican, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, opposed it. It funds the government for another 6 months. So here we go. Talking a little more about like the Democratic anxiety. A lot of fracturing is going on in the party due to this. The Democrat Party was fracturing Friday as a torrent of frustration and anger was unleashed at Senate Democrats led by Senator Chuck Schumer, who faced what they saw as an awful choice: shut the government down or consent to a Republican funding bill that allows President Trump to continue slashing the federal government. After Schumer announced that he would reluctantly support the bill, he bore the brunt of that anger, including the protest at his office, calls from progressives that he'd be primaried in 2028, and suggestions that the Democrat Party would soon be looking for new leaders. 9 other members of the Democratic caucus, a contingent of mostly swing state and retiring senators, eventually joined Schumer in voting to advance the Republican funding proposal, providing crucial support to bring it to a final vote. It passed late Friday with Senators Jeanne Shaheen and New Hampshire Angus King of Maine voting Republicans in favor. Since their election losses, Democrats have been hunkered against a barrage of Trump's early actions in office, locked out of legislative power, and left searching for a plan to regain political momentum. But as Schumer let pass one of the rare moments when the party might regain leverage in Washington, the Democrat Party erupted in a mode of anger that has been building for months. Yeah, people are mad, but here's some stock market news. Dow rises more than 600 points after shutdown averted. Gold price hovers near record 3,000 an ounce. Bitcoin treasury yields rise. The threat of government shutdown receded, pushing stocks to a rally to wrap up a tough week. Stocks opened higher and gained steam later Friday morning. By the close, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had risen 675 points, about 1.7%. The S&P rose 2.1%, and the NASDAQ rose 2.6%. The best day for both since the day after November U.S. presidential election. They have since back-to-back here. On Thursday, new tariff threats with mixed inflation news pushed the S&P into its first correction since late 2023. Despite Friday's gains, the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ ended the week down more than 2%. Late Thursday, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer moved to take the threat of a shutdown off the table, saying he would vote to advance Republican measure to fund the government through the rest of the year. The fear trade still has legs, though. Gold prices topped 3,000 a troy ounce late Thursday for the first time and ended Friday in a fresh record just below the milestone. Meanwhile, oil prices ended higher to avoid an 8th consecutive weekly decline. Bitcoin prices rose to about 84,000, lifting crypto-sensitive stocks such as Robinhood, MicroStrategy, and Coinbase. So, yeah. But what is actually in the bill? Some people have been talking about this, but this gets into it a little bit. A lot of Democrats, like, you've seen it all over Twitter. People were flipping out about this. They want to primary Chuck Schumer. They want a total shakeup. They're talking about, like, dismantling the Democratic Party. People are going nuts over this shit. Well, Republicans say in the bill will be fund core federal services, maintain operations on increasing spending, according to the GOP-led House Appropriations Committee. With no poison pills or unrelated riders, the bill is simple: extend funding and certainty for the nation. Committee Chairman Tom Cole of Oklahoma said in a statement. However, the measure contains some Trump administration requests, including additional $485 million for immigration and customs enforcement to help boost deportations. Oh, baby. The $13 billion decrease in non-defense spending, with Republicans are touting as $13 billion in savings, would stem from the removal of projects or one-time initiatives funded by lawmakers known as earmarks in fiscal year 2024. According to a House Appropriations Committee spokesperson, the measure would not affect the money directed to these projects in the last fiscal year, but it would not repeat the funding for the same projects. No earmarks are included in the continuing resolution, the spokesman said. what Democrats say is in the bill. Let's get into that a little bit. God almighty. Democrats are taking issue with the GOP's move to fund the government through the end of the fiscal year with a continuing resolution, or CR, as it is known, arguing the package did not provide specific funding directives for many programs and priorities to be laid out in a negotiated full-year spending bill. This creates slush funds for the Trump administration to reshape spending priorities, eliminate long-standing programs, pick winners and losers, and more, according to a fact sheet released by Washington Senator Patty Murray, a ranking Democrat in the Senate Appropriations Committee. The lack of these directives would make it harder to challenge Trump administration's actions in court. Murray and Rep. Rosa DeLauro, ranking member of the House Appropriations Committee, said in separate fact sheets. The lawmakers highlighted a variety of spending cuts contained in the continuing resolution, including slicing $185 million for defense nuclear non-proliferation programs and slashing $1.4 billion from the Army Corps of Engineers construction funding used for projects to mitigate the impacts of hurricanes and floods. Plus, legislation would reduce support for the Rural Broadband Community Connect program by $30 million, cut nearly $800 million from Veterans Affairs, facility construction, eliminate up to $40 million election security grant funding, and trim assistance to farmers to improve the lands on participating conservation activities by $30 million. So it does not look good, but this is what Jake Sherman has to say about it on Twitter. At 10:44 p.m. last night, the CR got through the Senate. Trump issued an executive order to eliminate the maximum extent consistent with the applicable law of the following agencies: the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, the United States Agency for Global Media, the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars, and the Smithsonian Institution, the Institute of Museums and Library Services, the United States Interagency Council on Homelessness, Community Development Financial Institutions Fund, the Minority Business Development Agency. So this is not good. This is not good. One more thing here. This is from Hannah. Some of what's inside the bill Senate Democrats just held pass cuts rent subsidies, cuts thousands of SSA jobs, contracts for Elon's companies, cuts ACOE projects, 44%, cuts $22.8 billion from VA healthcare, endangers NOAA funding, broad powers to Musk and Trump with no oversight. So this is looks like a real mess. I know that Speaker Mike Johnson here, he had some things to say about it. Democrats either have an issue with reading comprehension or they're running a shameful misinformation campaign. Sierra's no cuts to Medicaid, Social Security, or veterans benefits. Remember, the media, if you're allowing Democrats to make potentially false claims without pushback, they're aiding and abetting the spread of this misinformation. Speaking of the veterans' reaction to this, there's been plenty of protests going on. A lot of stuff has been happening since yesterday, since 3/14. A lot of veterans are standing up, making their voices heard about this. We got this guy, 80-year-old man chained himself to a sign near the White House to protest Trump and Musk's massive cuts to the Department of Veteran Affairs. Richard Hobcraft Allen III is a U.S. veteran himself.
We're marshaling on the 14th at noon and marching all over the country to say one simple thing. Veterans will not stand for this any longer. We believe that an unelected leader is killing our fellow veterans, and something must be done. All over our country, people are standing up, making noise in the streets, and stating, we cannot go on as usual. I know that you wake up in the morning, many of you, my fellow Americans, and particularly my fellow veterans, and you say, something is terribly wrong up at the level of our so-called commander-in-chief. We cannot take illegal orders, and we are sworn to defend our country against domestic enemies.
All right, yeah, Jesus. It's getting rough out there, but it's getting rough out there. Yeah, but it's not looking good. You know, a lot of people, there's mixed opinions about veterans, about military service, the military in general, but, you know, I do have some empathy for these kinds of guys. A lot of people are like, screw these guys, they voted for Trump. I'm not saying this guy voted for Trump, but a lot of veterans voted for Trump. There's a big, you know, military support for Trump, and a lot of those guys seem like they're getting screwed over. It's not good. It's not good. Definitely not. It's kind of obscene in a way that we can't even take care of our veterans like this. This is ridiculous. All to save a few bucks. I can only say it's fucked so many times, but this is fucked, man. This is fucked. There was some drama at a town hall meeting. Lawmaker Chuck Edwards heard from a few veterans outside. They were protesting outside, talking about the cuts to veterans benefits and whatnot and VA funding. But this guy got a lot of applause.
A veteran shortly after the town hall began. Listen.
You're lying. I'm a veteran. You don't give a about me.
There really is a palpable anger in this country you can feel. It's not like it was back in 2016, 2017. People were kind of like laughing at like leftist Democrat resistance, the pussy hats and stuff like that. It just wasn't taken very seriously. But now there's like a real undercurrent of this as a lot of like Trump voters are starting to understand like they've kind of been fucked over too. And I know we don't have a lot of sympathy for those kinds of people. I know it's like, you fuck around, find out, but all that kind of stuff like that. But there really is, as things get worse, more of this kind of stuff, it's going to really start popping off, I feel. And there's going to be a lot more protests, a lot more stuff going on. You know, people are pissed off. There's a lot of demonstrations, a lot of protests, a lot of boycotts taking place lately in the last couple weeks. It's probably just going to intensify. This is not good for America. This is not good for us, you know, and people are really, really getting angry. There's a very big undercurrent of like rage building up in America as this Trump administration just seems to be going off the rails. It's, you know, part of me is like, I'm worried about it. It concerns me as an American to see my fellow countrymen like made this desperate, but I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of hope that we can actually do something as citizens of this country, as voters, as taxpayers. There's some level that we can have our voices heard about this. And, you know, I mean, we're going to have to shake up Democrat Party leadership. Chuck Schumer's got to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The guy's got to go. But I'm going to leave it there. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Visit my Cash App link if you'd like to support the channel. That'd be great. I'm in the process of monetizing my channel, joining the partner program, 500 subs, 3,000 hours watched. Very grateful for that. Thank you very much. I released a video about that a couple days ago. But, all right. Thank you all for watching again, and I will talk to you guys later.
Ryan Little.